Hello there. We're taking a bit of a break from Transformers and Spectrum for this video. You might be forgiven for thinking that that's all the Vault does, pretty much Transformers and Spectrum, but there are a lot of other things that we do pick up from time to time, and things that do interest us. So what I'm going to do with this line of videos is take a look at the other stuff that I have interest in and finds its way upon the shelf in the vaults. I like to call it my not only, but also. So we're going to be looking at today Four Horsemen, Mythic Legions, Skeleton, Legion Builder 2.
Not only,
but also.
And here he is. I've got him in the box in front of the camera here. We're going to take a look at him shortly. But what I want to do is I just want to give you a brief rundown about Four Horsemen if you're not familiar with them. The company itself has its origins, I'd say, around 1999 when they were doing, I think there were the four chaps that set it up. And it was around, about September 1999. And they were doing figure sculpting and things like that for McFarlane. From that, they also went on and did work for Mattel for lines such as Masters of the Universe, DC stuff, Thundercats, Dark Knight, Harry Potter, Man of Steel, things like that. They branched out on their own. It would be 2004, 2005. I think it'd be. I think it would be about that. And when they did, it would a line called Seventh Kingdom, and it was like mythical beasts, things like minotaurs and things like that. That followed up in 2006 with some vinyl figures, Magma Core, and they were things like futuristic enforcement groups, things like that. If I keep bouncing off, you'll excuse me because I've had to research this, so I'll keep looking off to the side to my notes. So you have to bear with me on that. I know a bit about them, but I'm not fully up to 100% up to speed with it. So where was I? Yes, following on for that, there was Gothitropolis. I think I pronounced that right, which was a gothic steampunked avian kind of themed line. We had a Symbiotic, which is like hybrid humanoid beast figures that would like merge and interact. But from what I've researched or from what I've looked and found online, I think that I might have either been just put on hold or abandoned because I don't think anything from that has been released. Moving on then, around 2010 time, you had a line called the Outer Spacemen, which apparently was a revived toy line from Colourforms from the 60s, and that incorporated a Glyos modular joint system which allowed you to interchange parts, and they worked closely with the original designer of that, someone called Mel Bernkrant. Again, apologies if I've mispronounced that. 2013 we had Power Lords, which was relaunching of an 80s toy line that was designed by Wayne Douglas Barlow, and again that used the same Glyos system for interchanging parts and that debuted at San Diego Comic-Con of that year. Moving forward then, we get to 2015 and when we had the Mythic Legions stuff, and this is all kind of sort of like fantasy stuff. So you've got skeletons, knights, dwarves, orcs, all things like that, mythic creatures and things like that. And it apparently the focus on that was very much the collectors and customizers, because again you can swap and change parts and things like that. 2017 you had Advent of Decay, which was a Kickstarter, and that became funded, raising over 1 million. That's a lot, is that, isn't it? And then 2021 you had Cosmic Legions, which is the next stage on from Mythic Legions, and that's more of kind of a space theme, sci-fi kind of theme stuff. that is some really nice stuff. I'm very tempted on that, but I've managed to hold off for the time being. So yeah, that's 4 Horsemen. You know, that's and a brief overview. There's more to it than that, but I just wanted to keep it sweet, short, and straight to the point. And like I say, so apologies if I've missed stuff or I may have got the odd thing wrong, but it was just a bit of brief research that I did, you know, when getting this this video ready. So yeah, we're going to take a look at the Legion Builder 2 skeleton, and we'll start with the packaging. So what can I say about the packaging? It's very, very simple packaging. It's just a clamshell. You know, it's quite minimal in the respect of, you know, you've just got a bit of, you know, you've got like a faction logo, I would assume it is. You've got the, you know, the title of the line there, Mythic Legions. You've got a bit of a bio for the character here, and then you've got some more information there on the back. And then when I take the card out, I'll show you it's got some really gorgeous artwork on this backing card here. What else makes it quite good, and what I like as well, is that the package is designed in a way that you can open it and reseal it at will. You know, so I'll do that now. I'll get it out, and we'll take a look at the figure. So we just fold these 2 flaps down here. I can slide that panel out, and I'll just show this artwork before I move on. Look at that. It's just some gorgeous artwork, is that? I do like that. Right, I'll change the orientation of the camera, and then we'll come back and I'll start taking you through the accessories. Okay, and we're back now, and we're going to bring the accessories in. So the first accessory in the clamshell is going to be this spear, if you will. I'm sure there's a proper name for it, but I'm just going to call it a spear. And it's quite sturdy. There's a bit of flex in it, but I don't think it's, you know, it's not the kind of thing I think you'd have to really go at it to break it. And then we've got some nice detailed sculpt in there of the spear head. That's nice, and these ridges are quite sharp actually. That's nice, and the tip is as well. Tip's a bit sharp as well. So yeah, so that's the first thing there. We'll put it up there, and then the rest of the accessories come in a small resealable baggie. So we'll open that up and tip those out. So I'll do the sword first. So we've got a sword which is nicely sculpted. It's nothing too fancy, and it's got some nice sculpting and nice paint work on the hilt there. You might not be able to see it properly here in the camera, but there will be pictures, because I'll also be doing like a written review as well of this as well. That'll be up on the Vaults of Icon website, so I'll be able to take a look at that. And they've even got some kind of like a rust kind of effect, a moulded kind of like, you know, as though like, you know, when brass or things like that goes off, it goes a bit green tinged and things like that. So they've got that there on the hilt as well. So yeah, so that's nice, is that. We've then got, there's 2 parts to the shield. The shield again is cast and painted in the kind of the same kind of like bronzy coppery effect with that green tarnishing. That's the word I'm looking for, tarnishing on it as well. And then you've got a detachable handle there that just sort of like clips onto the back. There we go. And then that's so you can hold that there. I have heard and I've read a couple of times that sort of like there's been some people have broke this little nub. Fortunately, you know, I've not at this moment in time, but I always tend to, I am sometimes a bit over careful with my figures, so maybe I don't know, maybe heavy-handedness is something to do with it, or, you know, being a bit too rough or trying to force it on too, you know, too hard. But yeah, I've had no issues with mine there. But yeah, you've got a moulded grip handle there, and that's the shield. We've also got a belt, or kind of a, well, I say belt, or is it kind, you know, like you can throw over your shoulder, like a strap to go over your shoulder, and that's got some nice painted detail on there. It's got like silver buckle detailing there, and then like a silver painted stud work as well, and then another painted silver clip there, and then it's got like a slit section here, which so then when you've got it actually on the skeleton, you can slide your sword in and it holds the sword like that. And then we've got hands, replacement hands. So we'll start with the pointing no fingers. We'll start with the pointy fingers, pointy hands. It's them there. And you've got one that articulates. Oh no, sorry. They both articulate. It's like side to side articulation on both those. But again, they're really sculpted, really nice, and painted real nice as well. Love them. They're great. Them. And then the two sets, the two spare sets of hands, they're both the same mould and painted details, but this is where I'm talking about the way that they rotate. So you've got one set that rotate up and down, and then you've got another set that do the rotation side to side. Sorry, camera's going a bit blurry there, isn't it? Apologies. So yeah, so there's just one of each there, but you do get two pair. And that's it for the accessories. The other thing I will say about the accessories is that with it being kind of a Legion builder modular kind of design, you can utilise and use accessories from other Mythic Legions figures and the Cosmic Legions as well, so they're all interchangeable, so you can actually end up creating your own characters. And if you do a bit of a Google, well actually you search on YouTube as well, if you do a bit of a search there, you'll be able to see, you know, the custom style figures and characters and things like that people who are far more into it than what I am, you know, have come up with and made. So I'm just trying to think. I think that's probably it. I think that's really all I can say about the accessories. So we'll just move them to one side and we'll get to the figure himself. So he's held here in the clam with a couple of twist ties. So we'll untwist those. Get into the good stuff. Because that's what we're here for. We can talk about packaging and how stuff's held in all day long, but that's not what we're interested in. This is what we're interested in. The figure itself. Look at that. I'll just let you look at that for a moment. There will be the usual turntable in the over here. Where am I? Down there. Down here. Yes, he's pointing down there. If I'd have had the pointer finger on you, you could have done it, couldn't you? And just showcasing while I'm chatting away. So it's classic skeleton warrior design. You know, this sort of like, you know, this grim, you know, Grim Reaper undead kind of skeletal look. As I mentioned earlier when I was reading the text from the packaging there, very influenced by the skeletons from Jason and the Argonauts, the Ray Harryhausen skeletons, which is one of the reasons why I like it so much. You know, I love that film, and that scene when I saw that as a kid, that freaked the hell out of me, but in a good way, that I just wanted to keep watching it kind of thing. It is a slim build, and at first glance when you look at it, you'd be forgiven for thinking that it looks a bit flimsy and a bit fragile, but it really isn't. It really isn't. There is a really great, you know, quality to the materials used here. You know, it's a durable plastic. It's all painted. You know, there's. I mean, I'll talk more about the paintwork in a moment. But the joints are firm. You know, there's no looseness there. Like I've said, it is a modular design, so you can pop. All the joints will pop off. I'll just do, for example, the head there, and I can just take the arm out as well. Just give it a bit of a twist, you know. So everything does pop off like that, and you can swap and change it about with other figures in the line. I'll just pop that back up because I want to go through and just show you the articulation. Pop his head on as well. So yeah, so you've got with the arms, you've got arms coming out like that. They will go up slightly, just a little bit more, but you've got kind of like the clavicle and the top of the shoulder blades there, just stopping it slightly. They'll all come down as well. I mean, you can see the stiffness of the joints, so you know they're not going loose anytime soon. The arms will rotate all the way around at the shoulders. You've got a bend there at the elbow, but they also twist round as well, and then same with the wrist twists all the way around, and then you've got the bend at the wrist there as well. I won't bother doing the other arm because, you know, it's just the same as well. Head is on a ball joint, as you can see. Just take that head back off again. There you go. It's on a ball joint. So you've got a great range of movement there. And then you've also got the jaw is hinged. So you can have him doing a bit of a shouty, screamy kind of face. Like that. You've then got a ball joint on the just under the rib cage there. No articulation at the waist, but you've got it there. So then if you do want to do like a bit of a rotation or an ab crunch kind of thing, you can get there like that. Then you've got the legs will kick out backwards and forwards like that, and then pull out like that. They also rotate around there as well. There's no thigh swivel on these. I do like a thigh swivel because I think when you're trying to do posing, it just does make it look a bit more natural. But the swivel is there at the knee. The knees go back here like that, and then you've got the foot will tilt down and then pivot side to side like that. Sorry, but just going briefly back to the thigh swivel thing. I know why they haven't done the thigh swivel, because the way that they've articulated the joints, and also not wanting to break the lines, you know, of these of the femur bones here. So completely get that, no worries at all. So yeah, just going back briefly to the paint application, it is quite simple, but it's really, really effective. You know, it's subtle. It's kind of like an aged kind of, you know, bone kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, bone shading. You know, like there's some wear on the bone kind of thing. It's not like what you'd expect like a fresh skeleton to look like, or a bleached bone to look. So you know, so you've got there's all the grubby little highlights in there, and you know, like it's got a bit of a dirt wash on, and you know, so it's not just plain plastic. You know, it's all painted, all the shading and things. So yeah, love it. It's great look. So right, we'll see, where are we now? So yeah, I've gone through that. I've gone through the accessories, the articulation. I spoke a bit about the figure. Yeah, you've got a real. There is a realism to the figure. You know, it's quite striking that you know, this kind of like this undead warrior look to it. It doesn't look. I mean, I know it is an action figure, but I don't think it looks like an action figure. It does look like a miniature skeleton, if you will, and it just fit right in with that, like, you know, that fantasy mythic thing of the line as a whole. There's a grounded balance between, you know, the fantasy and the believable anatomy, if you will, of the figure itself. And also, you know, I mentioned it before, but there's a nostalgia there, you know, with the stop motion thing, you know, from Ray Harryhausen. And also, I'd say it works equally as good as like a Legion builder, which is its intended purpose, or even a standalone figure. I mean, I just have the one of these, and it looks great just on its own with its accessories. So what I'll do is I'll bring some of the accessories in, and we'll get him tooled up and get him in a few different poses, and you can take a look at, you know, how he looks. So I think we'll just swap that hand off first. I think we'll get yeah, this is the up and down hand, is this one. We'll get him his sword in. I'll take this one off as well, because the out the pack, these two fists that it comes with are just like kind of like a clenched fist kind of look. So they're not you know, they're not able to hold any of the accessories. Let's get down. Let's bring his shield in. There we go. I mean, it's just... It's just... it's Ray Harryhausen, isn't it? It is, and I know I keep saying it, but it was just such a massive part of my childhood. Those kind of films, you know, that when I first saw this, I thought, yeah, I've got to have that. Now I must say, and I must give thanks to Greybeard Plastic Works, who was kind enough to send me this all the way from the States when it first came out. He gifted me this, so yeah, really appreciate that. Still love it, still fully thankful of it. And I'd seen the Mythic Legion stuff in passing, but not really giving them much of a second glance, if you will. But then when I saw this, I thought, I need to take a bit more interest in that, or have a deeper look. And it just so happened that at the time, I think it was season 2 of the Collector's Archive, I was talking to Greybeard Plastic Works, who is a big collector of the Mythic Legion stuff. And we got chatting. We were chatting for ages before we started recording. And then when we finished recording, we were chatting ages again. And we've had a couple of other, offline chats, just touch base and keep in touch, and we got really into talking about this stuff. And yeah, he was a star, and he sent me this through. So it was, I think, earlier on in the year, or it may have been late last year, they did, I think it was called the Graveyard set. And it was a 3-pack of these skeletons, but in like a bleach bone version. And it came with various accessories and various swap out heads and stuff. This one doesn't have a swap out head, it just has this head here that it comes with. And I was tempted for that one. I still am tempted for it, but other things have come along that have taken priority over that, as have a couple of other Mythic Legions figures that I've bought in and I've got on pre-order, which hopefully, all being well, I will be showcasing them here like I've been doing this one. So, right, let's get some more accessories in his hands. Just swap them out. Let's get the spear in there. Do it like this way. Do it this way. Pop it in there. And there. That. I just angle that down. Like that. They're kind of like a lunging kind of in the air kind of pose, holding that spear. Or if you just want him stood up. As I was going, he's off spear fishing. I'm gonna try and catch his tea. Oh. And I'll show you the belt accessory. So to get that on, pop the head off, sling it over his arm and his neck. Oh, his head back on. There we go. Then if we pop his sword on his back like that, that just slides in there, as you can see. And then we could put his shield back in that arm. Sorry, hand. And his spear in this one. There we go. And then he's all ready for battle. Bringing forward a bit there. Spear's just out of shot a bit there, because it's so long. There we go. Excuse me. And there he is. Love it. Absolutely love it. And then finish up. I'll just take all this lot off again. Well, pop that pointy finger on. There we go. Then you can point away at things that interest him. You know, or he can just stand there and point to his favourite part of the room. There we go. Point at you. You. It's your time. Or something like that. Let's pull my finger. Ha ha ha. Oh yeah, very silly. Very silly. I should tilt that back down a bit more. So yeah, that's the Skeleton Legion Builder 2 from 4 Horsemen Studios. It's a great figure. I love it to bits. And as you can see, as I've been messing about with it, I've not been overly careful or cautious with it, which is unlike me. But I have that much faith in this line of figures and the quality of it that, you know, that I know it's got good tolerances there. One other thing I will point out is we've got two excuse me, holes at the back here. This is so other accessories from other figures you can come in. So there's like shoulder pieces of armor and things like that, or bone wings and things like that you can pop in there. And then also, if you remove the coccyx at the back there is another hole there that stuff can be attached. And also, if you have a particular, there's certain figure stands that you can plug in there, and you can do like in flight or jumping kind of poses and so on. So final thoughts, what can I say? Yeah, I mean, it really is a standout for the quality and craftsmanship of 4 Horsemen products. To get so much detail and sturdiness in what initially looks like such a flimsy figure, so I can't knock it for that. It's a great piece for people that want to Legion build an undead army, or even just have one piece as a feature kind of thing, just something that's a different, something a bit different. I mean, I do have a small selection of other Mythic Legions figures, and I am continue to be impressed, of the variety and the quality, and how they just look together, the artistic consistency of them, and the way that they're modular and you can swap and change about. And yeah, so I mean, I think they are definitely, if you're into this kind of dark fantasy or diorama building kind of thing, they are the thing for you, along with other figures that they produce. And also as well, I'm going to mention them again, if you're a fan of Ray Harryhausen, why would you not want a skeleton figure? So there we go. Right, I'm going to close it off now, because there probably isn't much more I can say about it that you can't see from what I've been showing here. And I probably will go a bit more in depth in the written review that you'll be able to see on the Vaults of Icon website. That's just basically because I'm better at written reviews than what I am at speaking reviews, because I tend to waffle on and I get all my blah blah with my words and stuff. So, what you gonna do? So right, that's it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I've been Ed. He's been a Skeleton, and you've been watching Not Only But Also. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye for now.
Not only,
but also. Vaults of Icon.